Hey, what's up? It's Greg from Fisherman's Headquarters, and today is Sunday, July 11th. I'm up here in the Mid-Island Surf taking a quick little stroll right before sunset. I had a beautiful day today, beautiful day yesterday too. Hope you got out and enjoyed this weekend. We had some residual swell in the water. If you've been up on the surf last couple days on the beach of LBI, or really the whole Jersey Shore, or really the whole Northeast, you probably saw some good powerful swell in the water. That was from Storm Debbie that passed through the area. We also had a frontal system that came through, gave us some westerly winds. So it was great to see a change in weather pattern from what we had. It was kind of a brutal southerly wind conditions that we had day after day, week after week, just about month after month. We had some onshore breezes, some easterly, northeasterly winds, pushed up the surface water up on the beaches. And that created a downwelling event, the opposite of what we had all summer. Upwelling creates the colder conditions on the surf, and the downwelling creates much warmer conditions. So that surface water piles in along the beach and it pushes that cold water back down to where it belongs, stacks up, warms up the water. So right now we got water temperatures in the upper 60-degree range. Today I was out in the boat, I was out in the ocean. It's a fluke fishing, had 70-degree water. And the fishing was pretty active in certain parts of the tide, certain parts of the day. There was definitely residual swell. I'll kind of swing around this way here so you can kind of see a little bit of the wave action that's left. It's definitely on the smaller side. I call it a powerful 1 to 2 foot wave right now, kind of on the beach of LBI here at dead low tide. I guess it's about 7:30 right now. Sunset I think is at 8. Kind of burning my eyes right now when I look off to the west. There's a west wind, so there's bugs around. Be sure to grab some Captain Rods or Incognito Mosquito. 2 great bug sprays we have in stock at Fisherman's Headquarters. But in regards to the tide, it is almost dead low. I believe low tide is a 7:15, something like that. We've got the sunset around 8 o'clock. So right now, I guess it's bottom of the tide, coming up a little bit. Going back to the water temperatures, most of the surf on LBI is in the mid to upper 60-degree range, if not 70. Like I mentioned, I was fishing today. I got into some fluke fishing out of Barnegat Inlet. The inlet is a little gnarly on the outgoing tide. You should expect that. When I say expect that, anytime you've got an outgoing tide, the inlet is going to be pretty rough. The wave action, whatever's left in the ocean, is going to get stood up. It could be flat calm, and you could have 1, 2, if not 3 foot waves in the inlet on a hard outgoing tide. At the peak part of the ebb tide, that's the outgoing, it is the worst. At the slower parts of the stages of the tide are a little bit better. Slack tide is normally the calmest, incoming tide is normally better. When there is a swell, it doubles up. So just a little helpful information if you are going to be transiting, say, the inlet, especially if there's some swell around, and there is some swell coming down the pike here. Looks like next weekend. So if you are a weekend warrior, just come to visit Long Beach Island for the weekend, or that's the only time you get off from work, be on the lookout next weekend. We got a storm coming up. Right now it's still tropical depression, probably be a hurricane here in a few days. Looks like it's tracking to the west, coming into about Puerto Rico, and then it kind of makes the hook up to the north. Looks like right now all the models are in somewhat of a steady consensus that it's going to be tracking up towards Bermuda. Hopefully it stays around Bermuda or to the east of Bermuda and doesn't come west and does, continues on with that little recurve, which is most storms come up, kind of get caught up in the jet stream and then get taken off into the Atlantic. And it'll be kind of more of an ocean going storm. That's what it looks like this one's going to be. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully, say the islands down there, Puerto Rico, Haiti, Cuba, and all that doesn't get creamed. I'm not exactly sure where it's going right now, but as far as what I saw in the update this morning, I saw most of the spaghetti models were coming into somewhat of a consistent consensus with each other, all tracking that same direction. So it's good to see we don't have spaghetti models going every which direction and kind of have everybody sweating about where it's going. So with that said, I got a nice fluke fishing. I had Jess and I think it was Jack. Not 100% positive on that, but Jess was from, I think she said she was from Illinois, possibly, but they're in Philly right now. She's in Philly, so they came down to LBI for a short vacation, wanted to jump aboard, get us some fishing. It was her first time fishing in the ocean, so I was stoked to get her on some quality fishing, and also, I guess boyfriend, husband, I forget, I should probably know that, but we got out early. Jess got a 21.5-inch fluke, fishing, like I mentioned, off Island Beach State Park. We're fishing kind of open sand bottom. Fluke fishing has been somewhat hit or miss this season. Colder water's been the slower side. If you do get a better tide, better water temperatures, there is some active bite. Most of the time, smaller fish. I've definitely had a lot of smaller fish this year. Very few big fish, very few trips where I've had big fish stacked up one upon the other, or like limits, stuff like that, which previous years was much easier than this year for sure. But beautiful fish nonetheless. 21, I think it was 21 and a half, 21 and 3/4, just shy. It was under 22, I know that for sure, on the bump board. We took a couple photos, so I'll throw a photo up there of her. She got that on a gulp grub. I believe that was pink shine. We were fishing that, and also we caught some bluefish out in the ocean. A lot of small blues chasing some bait. I saw a couple mackerel. Should be some false albacore and little Spanish mackerel in the area as well. Some little peanuts out there, little bay anchovies, and some spearing from what I saw. See how that kind of plays out as we transition into the fall season. It's just only a few weeks away, say a month or two left. Normally late August and September, you start to get the mullet run. We've got mullet around right now. We've got some fresh mullet in the shop. I think we just sold out today on Sunday, but we had it for the weekend. So there are mullet swimming around locally. There's some mullet pushing around, getting closer to the inlets. Once they get through those inlets, it can be game on. See how that goes. A lot of times the bluefish are on them first, but striped bass too. As far as the fish report goes, I know store staff for Frez and also Gray were out doing some nighttime stalking on the beaches. On the bay side, and they got some striped bass fishing the small NLBNs. That's no live bait needed, small little soft bait paddle tails. I know that my buddy Bill Bassant was out today. He said he struggled with tog and also struggled with fluke, although he caught some. But he got a couple trigger fish. He also caught a striped bass fishing the bay side, so stoked to see that. Like I mentioned, past reports, we've had a really good, strong summertime striped bass fishery due to the colder water temps. Water is warm, but those resident striped bass are still around. Fluking is definitely going to be one of the main primary species that everybody should be targeting right now. Fluke off the surf. I know Mark Jr., Babe, he's a store staffer. He was fishing Mid-Island Surf, I think either Ship Island, Surf City. He's been catching some fluke off the beach. No bigger fish to report of. Heard a number of other reports of some fluke off the beach. Kingfish on the surf. If you're going to be fishing off the beach, probably your best bet for surf fishing right now will be fluke, kingfish. You see the smaller terns, smaller birds. Not these little plover birds that are picking behind me like right at the water's edge, but a tern's like a fork tail, got a high pitched chirp. They're chasing small bait that I mentioned before. And if you see them, throw a small metal, probably catch some bluefish. You can also fish chunks of bunker, chunks of mackerel, chunks of mullet, or fish a mullet rig. If you pay attention to our Instagram and our Facebook, store staffer Fred just tossed up how to rig up a mullet rig. That's just a little heads up, little 101, so people look at a mullet rig and say, what in the hell is going on here? A little quick 101 of how to do that. So hopefully that brings some value. There's a little family photo shoot going on here, so I don't want to kind of poke through there. So I'm going to spin around this way. Hopefully it's all right with y'all. So I mentioned there's some kingfish on the beach, the fluke on the beach, some blues. Nothing spectacular, but there's some fish here. With the warmer water temperature, I expect kingfish to get a little bit better. Speaking of the surf, just this weekend, I guess it was yesterday, Hooked on Fishing, Not on Drugs, Hofnod had an event at the Long Beach Island Surf Fishing Club. I know John Hughes is involved in that. I know he shared that there was a lot of anglers. I forget the number. I should remember that. How many kids sign up? But it's a youth kind of fishing introduction or youth fishing event to get kids interested in, say, the outdoors, interested in fishing, and kind of keep their mind focused on those tasks as opposed to getting tangled up with other things. So it's an event we sponsor. We help out with some products and such. A lot of kids get free rods and reels for that. So we kind of help out sourcing them and getting the club the best pricing and scoring all those goodies. Lots and lots of sponsors. I wish I knew all the sponsors off the top of my head, but basically thank you to everybody who participates, everybody that supports it, and it's a great event. I don't know exactly how many years, but it's definitely been a number of years. They do it every single summer. So if you missed out this year, it's a bummer, but be on the lookout for next summer. It's normally, I believe, in the middle to early middle part of August. With that said, I believe there was bluefish, kingfish, and fluke caught. I can share on the bay side, which I didn't mention, a lot of small spot. Shop alumni Schwag was just in. He now lives over in Waretown. He's fishing his local lagoon behind his house. He said he's catching a lot of small croakers and a lot of small spot. He's basically loading up the live well for the fall season up ahead. So he's using small pieces of bloodworm, using fish bites, artificial bloodworm. You could also use other artificial bloodworms too, but fish bites has been more popular than, most popular over the years. Definitely very effective bait. I find when the water temperature is warmer, they're much more effective when you have colder water, little slower, say, release on scent. They kind of like almost turn to like a jelly gum-like and they start falling apart. That kind of breakdown is much slower in cold water. I think that's why they're not as effective. There is two formulas. We stock both of them, but definitely go with the colder water formula. It's going to disintegrate quicker, dissolve quicker, but that's the one you're going to have to get the scent out. and they are scented. A lot of people think it's just the color and the actual material, but there is scent involved in there, exactly their proprietary mix. I don't know the concoction, but there's something there just like Gulp isn't just the actual profile of the action. Yes, it has that, but also has to do with the scent. The scent is what sets it apart. So fish bites are a great option if you're fishing off the beach or in the bay. If you wanted to go crabbing, I know crabbing's great. Clamming, a lot of people took advantage of that bayside action when we had the winds there a couple days. Fortunately, those winds came, they stirred up some things. Got some beautiful looking water here. I scored some surf up in Harvey Cedars. I also surfed up the street from the shop in Ship Bottom. Some beautiful holes and bowls there, so I'm looking forward to see how this beach profile, say, progresses through. I kind of heard from a birdie that we might be having some beach replenishment this fall. Whether it's early, mid, or late fall is up for debate. Not really sure how that's going, but a friend in the Beach Patrol said they heard it through the grapevine. So I think it's pretty solid, say, facts. Hopefully it doesn't happen this fall. Hopefully it's more winter time. And hopefully right when it happens, a bunch of storms tear it up and spread it out so we get much more natural profiles, not just such a radical slope like these Army Corps love to build. So we'll see how that goes. Once again, it's Greg at Fisherman's Headquarters. Hopefully these reports, these tips and tricks are providing you some information now and throughout the entire season. Hopefully you're subscribing. If you're not, please drop a quick subscribe, a little like, drop a comment below as well. Appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching. And be sure to stop by Fisherman's Headquarters if you need any fishing tackle, any kind of bait, need a rod and reel, maybe some new line. Have a great day.